Well, since there is a deficit that was presented, the control and management of all teams participating in competitions, control and management of all athletes who are registered. Previously, there were some mistakes, and that there were seasons that they would. I mean, there was an element that teams would win, would have a desk win, and nowadays it's no longer a reality since there's more interaction between all agents involved. And then we have an example, the issue that impacts a problem that Angola is experiencing, not only Angola but the world as a whole, which is the change of ages with the technology. Even in sports youth, we can register kids from 6, 7 years old. Whenever they get into a school competition, they are registered, and from there they cannot change their age. That's a problem we used to experience before. Very recently, we launched the COP, which is the club licensing system, those participating in the international competitions under the umbrella of FIFA. There's a huge rigor, and only with this technology, it enables clubs to be more organized, to do the proper management, and also participate in these competitions. In the That's the impact of technologies. Under the training, the trainer, the coach nowadays, with these softwares, with these startups that are emerging nowadays, they can actually manage. They can manage their teams, their training. They can better plan, and they can also do a timely registration of all information, and at the same time to share with all elements of the technical team. And now, as with respect to optimization and performance, with the introduction of technology, this has been facilitating the optimization process of the training. We end up saving time. We'll be able to identify activities or actions perpetrated by the athletes in real time, and we get the performance of the athlete or the footballer, and these will enable the coach to take better decisions or informed decisions during the game time, during game time. When it comes to security in sports, contrary with what we used to witness, and that's football is our life actually. There were stewards where there will be security, but nowadays, now with the use of technology, there is more interaction, and there is even strictness when it comes to surveillance. I bring you an image that gives you that it's a man almost pointing a gun. I don't know what this device is called, but this is a device that is capable of neutralize, for instance, a drone that was not part of the game system of what is happening. And this device can neutralize and bring the drone down without it falling, and also without harming a footballer that is playing. And this is actually, obviously, one of the impacts of technologies in sports. Very quickly, the socio-economic and sports socioeconomic and sports impact. From the social perspective, and Gerson will show you a film. Nowadays, as long as you have a deficiency or a breakdown, you no longer serve sports. Now with the technology, there is a social inclusion, and this impact has become evident. From in terms of a business perspectives, business opportunities nowadays, and this image reflects what I'm just saying. If a soccer pitch, a football stadium, and around it there are a number of activities that are taking place, and sometimes we don't see that. People have a smartphone, the others have camera, the others have devices that we don't even know, and they're producing information for the game, for the spectators. Now with the use of artificial intelligence, it's already possible to watch a game in Angola with a static publicity in Angola, but those who are in Dubai, because company XPTO has bought that game, they are watching. They're watching this game, but they're watching this publicity or the advertisement. Few years ago, this was not possible, but nowadays, with the use of technology, this is now possible. And since sports is a share, I'm going to share my presentation with my companion on stage. To continue the presentation from my colleague, he was talking about the impact of technologies on sports, and one of them is the interaction of the spectators with the sports. That applies for football, athletics, cricket, handball, then different modalities that are helping in innovations in the different sports disciplines. And we have the video referee, which is also known as video VAR, video, which allows to take a better judgment, allows the referee to take a better judgment. As you can see in this video, in this film, we have the video. So that's a system where a decision is taken by the referee. He has 4 decisions to intervene. It could be a penalty, it could be a direct red card, goal, or a mistake DTT, showing a yellow or a yellow card for a player that has not even committed the fault. This is the symbol. We have the TV, this interaction. And at opening of the Euro, so you could see the intervention of VAR in 3 situations. One during the penalty, the other was the referee called the penalty, and the VAR realized that there was offside, and the third was a possible 4th goal from Germany that was then cancelled or annulled. We had the LGT with and this technology allows to set up cameras along the whole football pitch that allows to take a clear decision whether the ball had crossed the goal line or not. And that is the technology that has been able to help referees to take decisions. This technology is also used in volleyball, cricket, which is an eagle eye, which is a technology that other sports disciplines are also using. We also have for the athletics, which is one of the technological innovations we can observe nowadays in terms of sports, where adapted athletes were also part of the competitions, and possibly in the years to come, these athletes will be able to overcome the timings from conventional athletes. Probably at 10, 50 years time, will beat the records, Usain Bolt's records, and this technology allows Paralympic athletes to participate in 100 meters, 200 meters, 800 meters, and that is a technology that facilitates, because it's a carbon material that weighs very less, that weighs very little, and also gives opportunity for young students to innovate this process. Thank you for all, and I just hope there will be questions. So thank you for these short presentations of two gentlemen working for the sports. We have Miller Gomes, who is a football coach, who spoke about how technologies can impact sports, and very recent and last, Gelson Millan, that will be part of the Paris Olympic Games. I don't know whether we have time for interaction. I don't know whether one of the invited guests would want to ask questions before we move on to the closing ceremony. We still have 10 minutes. I don't know whether someone has a question. So I'd like to ask a question to one of our guests. So in 10 minutes, in 2 minutes, there might be an interaction. Okay, someone wants to ask a question. Good morning to the presenters. My question has to do with this technology in our Girabola, in our soccer championship. What is the technology that is being implemented nowadays in the Angolan football? Different technologies were showcased there, so I'd like to understand what is our reality in the Angolan football today. So he wants to know whether the Angolan football has some kind of technology in place. Angola, obviously, we usually say that the country is a virgin country. I usually say that Angola is a fertile country who's prospering. Obviously, technologies will be but in terms of technology, we have the man. We are an intensive training process, and I'm talking the Angolan Football Federation, because FIFA has been very demanding and rigorous in this aspect. So we are currently undergoing an intensive training process from management, from the implementation of these software programs, and FIFA is actually pushing towards implementing all this. After, besides FIFA Connect, which is a system that regulates the registration of all athletes all over in the world. For Africa, we have the club, which is a system that regulates the whole competition for the African Cup of Nations, and also Girabola. Internally, we don't have a regulatory system, an internal system for Girabola. We still actually taking advantage of the existing technologies that FIFA and CAF has made available to us.
Microphone for
Ex-secretário de Estado, antigo internacional angolano de basquetebol. Vamos ouvir a questão de Carlos Almeida.
Posso?
À vontade.
Bom dia. E felicidade pela apresentação.
thank you for the presentation. My question goes for Gerson Emiliano. Today it was presented the impact of technology in other sports, and we managed to understand that there's a need if we want to develop and we start to develop technology in sports in general terms. Even though I would like to ask Gerson, even though with a lot of technology we feel that the human impact is still extremely important for what is the sports. I'd like to know from Gerson, with the experience that you have, what you have to say about those who have the competence of acting. There's a lot of integration of technology. Just when you're on the line to play, first of all, are you informed? That's your decision. I mean, we're talking about the third referee. So the decision, how do you take the decision? That's the question that I wanted to ask. So thank you, Excellency. Allow me to answer the first question, whereby the question was what type of technology we can use at Girabola and what we hope for the future. Normally, we are using some technology in our internal championship, Girabola. For example, for us as referee, we use IT system that allows interaction between the four elements during the soccer game, and we also use the flags, electronic flags that allow us to, or the assistant referee to communicate immediately to the referee by pressing the button, and use a app in the hand. And we also use smartwatch. For example, as referee, we use Polar watch or Garmin, and this watch allows the instructor nationally, internationally to follow in real time our development in terms of training and during the game, and also loss of calories and the level of blood. And they also use GPS during our training in official games, and that allows the trainers for the athlete to select the game. And this is a system that we have in our championship. It's true that we have to follow the development worldwide, because in other countries, in other continent, we still use video referee system. We are using technologies that are the most necessary, and we believe that these are technologies that are slightly expensive, and we hope that one day the right entities might contribute so that we have this system in our country. So with regard to demands, with regard to what expected from us during decision making, normally us as assistant referee, there's a phase that during the game we have to support the main referee, and normally there's certain decisions that we have to take. So these are decisions that we believe that the referee or the main referee may be distant from the player or did not take the right decision. So all this goes through communication. For example, during a game, we can take overturn decisions. So when we decide to take a specific decision, we have to inform the referee so that we can prepare their decision, and after that we can raise the flag. I'll give an example. When you use the video referee, we cannot decide. We have to wait for the game to end and after take the right decision normally. So there's a moment of the games, the position of the game, whereby the assistant referee can take the immediate decision and that decision, and before that we have to inform the referees, because at the end of the day, at the end of the decision, the final decision will be and the main referee. So I believe that we've got a minute for the last question. So let's listen to Sidoni Malamba, former referee from ASA. My question goes to Mila Gomes. It's known the excess of technology in sports, and there's been removing the emotion, the essence of sports. So what's your opinion with regard to this situation, and up to what time it can undermine the excess of technology can undermine what's the evolution and what's the spectacle, as we know that sports is spectacle, and sometimes limited with adult take into account the technology, and we saw here the delay in technology and the game in real time. So what is Billy Gomes' opinion with regard to that? Thank you, Malamba. I mean, years ago we did not have that technology available, and the emotion was just at the moment. So I believe that it's a good question, but as you know, human beings need to adapt. Especially nowadays, whoever goes to the stadium, you have to act according to the situation. So I was in Cannes with Jose Emiliano, and we had the same game, and that happened, and it was validated a goal. So the motion of the goal was validated, and the video referee called, and they said, okay, that goal was annulled. That was second emotion. So more and more, even the spectators are adapting themselves to this, and obviously, as a coach, we have to adapt to it. So we format ourselves. It's not easy because sometimes we are under pressure, and whenever there's a goal, a situation whereby can stabilize our emotional state, naturally speaking, this decision, or violate this decision or not, I won't. It does not only affect the player, the spectators, but I believe that it also affects the viewers. Even television, we are used to watch that game. If it is a goal, this decision that's taken, and someone say, okay, no, let's stop. I will just ask the video referee. So as human beings, we are adapting to it, and us as coach, we don't have other solution if not following that, because we all want the sports truth, and we know that nowadays technologies they came to give a flip and sports truth. Is there more comment, more questions? It's fundamental to all this of technology that's being used, be introduced, should be followed naturally by capacity building. We cannot bring VAR system if we don't have qualified staff. If we cannot manage as Jason stated using GPS, as Jason stated, if you go to a Girabola, we won't have two teams are using GPS because we don't have qualified staff in order to, in real time, know a set should impact. People should come and should have. I believe that this is another step when you think about implementation of this technology, and I believe that it's business opportunity. Even those who don't like sports. This youth who like technology should contribute in a way for business. I believe there's a question for invited guests. Thank you, Domingos English. My question goes to Jason Miliano. As the question asked,
E na sala, por que
why is that in our championship, even the oldest technology implemented years ago in other championship is not being implemented? For example, from shape at the ball. So what's the main difficulties that we have in order to implement this technology? We had a lot of problem in our championship. I remember a game with Puerto de Luanda and Sporting de Cabinda. A game that ended up affecting the decision of the ref of the game. It was a game from Petro whereby the ball went beyond the line and they validated that goal. And they also spoke about IT in sports, but we don't speak about the weak spot. What are the negative aspects in sports?
campeonatos? Falo concretamente do campeonato espanhol.
We speak about Spanish. Sports. I believe that you remember the last game between Barcelona and Real Madrid. The game, or the goal from Yamin Lamal was not validated, and after the camera of one of the ball of the supporters showed contrary. So what the constraints that this technology is being given to sports? Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll start by answering the first question. Why is that in our championship we don't implement technology? To speaking, implement the technology, we have the video referee and the goal system or removed out. That's a system that came in 1986 at the Brazilian Championship. It's a system that few people know it, but I expect that when they at home they know it. So you can use a line 3D in order to know if the player is likely.
do girabola. E esse investimento passa por
So the investment goes through some companies and not only, in order to make sure that they can use material at national level. If you don't have that investment, it will be difficult because they are very expensive technology. In Africa, we don't have the goal line, because for each soccer game, for us to use technology is about 100,000 euros, and 32 games it happens once sometimes. So these are expensive technologies, and in Africa, we only have Egypt and Morocco and Algeria. These are the countries that are using now. COSAFA is using it since last year, but in Southern Africa, we don't have any country, with exception to Zambia, who are using it. But that goes to interest at the level of the federation and the government, not only soccer, but also other With regard now to invention, the activities as positive aspect and negative aspect, not only in soccer but also in basketball, volleyball, and cricket, that directly or indirectly have influenced for the growth of soccer and other sports. But this advancement is also its loophole that's open. And one of to say that VAR remove the essence of soccer because we have to wait 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds in order to come to the last session. I'll give an example. Nike in 2011 presented a shoe that were tied by itself, and by that time the player were not able to use the new basketball and that's used that not have the natural air and we can use it. So that's a ball that in future we will need new advancement. So with regard to the game that's being presented between Real Madrid and Barcelona, truly speaking, it was a move that was mainly a lot of people argued. So we had about 5 situations of the game that they said the ball went. We saw the game between Sunderland and Young Africa, and we saw at the Premier League between Real Madrid and the Asian Championship. And technology also has its rules to follow. And normally, what happens is our natural vision make us to believe that the ball went beyond goal. So, by definition, it's only a goal when it goes beyond it, even if it lacks a millimeter. It's not a goal. If you remember, in 2022 game between Japan, Spain, it was a game that the goal did not go beyond the line, and that was for the benefit of Japan, and Japan won the game.
Com as imagens em 3D, realmente eu
We remember that by 3D, with 3D, it helps, but when video referee double checked in their room, they look at the watch, and if it does not vibrate and confirm, the referee might not confirm. So they can miss, or an angle can show that the ball goes beyond the line. So these are the loopholes that is being implemented. That at any time can be implemented, but the fundamental is to help the growth of the modality. So I believe that this is about maintaining the motion of sports, or else men will be always deciding. I remember that it was the game between Czech Republic, a goal from Cristiano Ronaldo, and various angles showed, and the ref stated that it was not a goal, and it was not a goal. So whether we like it or not, we end up missing. So it is some advantage. For example, nowadays we speak about the hand of God, Maradona's goal. If you have technology, maybe you won't use the hand of God in the game between England. Maradona scored the goal. There's an end of devil. They go from water. So can we have more interventions? I don't know if anyone would like to ask more questions. If not, the lady, I think that's the first lady, please. You have the floor, madam. Good morning, everyone. I'm Vivian Antonio. Vivian Antonio. Vivian Antonio. My question is, with regard to technological innovation, why we speak much about sports compared to other sports? So, with regard to impaired what we like to do with the technological implementation for impaired people or sports of people with disability. Now here we are thinking about technology to innovate or more inclusion for disabled people in sports. That's all. It's a good question. The first question for Jason, the second for Mila. Why you speak a lot about technology and not other sports? Thank you, Vivian, for the question. I believe that the technologies are present in almost every sports worldwide. Normally we speak that sports is one of the most practiced sports worldwide since tender age for 3 some years up to the world championship. But technology is in every sports. For example, in basketball, we also use sports equipment. We also use the sneakers, so they allow better adjustment to the human body, and they also allow better absorption of the equipment that athletes feel more comfortable, and they're also equipment that prevents injury in the athletes. So the Hawkeye has been implemented at the tennis championship, if I'm not mistaken, during horse racing, and we can also say that the same system on video referee that was adapted to sports is started in basketball. For example, in Grima, the suits that athletes use, they all have sensors. It helps the judges to take the best decision. And even athletics, this was one of the first sports where they use photography to decide the athlete that reached the finishing line first. So we've got all the sports, and they all have intervention technology, and people always speak bad about soccer because it's sports of the people. Vivian, look at the number of people in a stadium or a pavilion. So soccer is for a number of people. So the inclusion of impaired sports. Nowadays we have a lot of technology in sports, and we also have sports for blind people. And I believe that sports for blind people, we've got a set of sensors in the ball, in communication that is done between them. Nowadays we have an inclusion technology, and without this technology, I believe that we won't have high level competition for sports. And if you have to look for Paralympic sports, starting with the equipment, the sensors that they use. There was a video Jason spoke about. So we've got a set of systems that is used in order to regulate the way they run. So more and more, yes, as we don't have a huge impact in adaptive sports and technology in Angola, naturally we listen a bit about it. But in other words, technology is well implanted in adapted sports. One more question. We are here to answer all the questions. Malamba will not believe that he used to run a lot. Malamba is almost 50 years old. He doesn't run as he used to. There was a question asked by English, what's your name? What's your name? I know that your name is doing English. The old IT, like sheep at the ball. We spoke about the game between Petr and Kabinda that the ball eats, and does it make sense to use all technology in the country? I believe that we should think on updating of new technology, because if you have to think about the old technology for a year, things will change. For example, at 2022 World Championship, there was used semi-offside. It was a system that had about 24 cam in order to athletes. It was a system whereby only a finger from the athlete will define that the athlete. Nowadays, I believe we use at the World Championship, they use a system that helps assistant referee, whereby the same offside system helps the assistant referee whenever they're offside. So nowadays, the referee only needs to follow the movement up to the end and take decision. So going back to our national championship, Gerabola, I believe that for the referee to take a decision, we need a lot of factors. We need physical capacity, we need technical capacity, we need a good angle, we need support from the assistant referee in order to see if the ball went or not beyond the goal. Unfortunately, my colleague did not take the right decision, because the image showed that the ball went beyond the goal line, because don't supported that it was the role of assistant referee and did not give the right information, and he took the decision. And it's correct that we need this system, because I'll give you an example. Whenever I'm in Angola, I work with a very old system, but when I referee at African Games and worldwide, I have to update to the new system of the first world. Just to say that I will make a constructive critics. For example, this transmission of the game made by Angolan TV, you cannot rule offside, so you cannot see that. So I believe that even the television, they also try to look what's necessary for the sports truth. And one of the questions to just reinforce, one of the questions that we've been raising a lot. So whenever we watch a game, we've got the spectators and the commentators, and they do the observation, and it's true. So the type of analysis that we normally do when you're watching a game, as you said, is a constructive critics, because we need to reinforce that process. And whenever we are watching a game, be it for the public television or other channel, we have more difficulties. There is higher constraints in analysis, observation, and assessment compared to what we see. And also make a comment. So whenever we go to African Championship and the World Championship, we do that observation and we look at what technology is available for us in order to make our work and assess, and also provide information about in real time to whoever is watching and to whoever is making a statistic. And it differs. As it was said, we are adaptable human beings, and we have to adapt according to the tools that we have. And whenever we go to these events, we have to use technologies that oblige us to do our work the best way possible.
Contribuições. Alguém tem mais uma questão para colocar aos nossos convidados?
I would like to make more comment. Is the hand raised? Is there any question? So,
O nome, a função e a questão, por favor.
Ok, sou Lídio Pimenta, pertenço ao Ministério do Interior e a minha questão pertinente é acerca do desporto judo.
There's a very weak. There's been a gradual impact of judo specialty, and there's been a lot of performance in terms of the athletes because lack of motivation. What can technology actually do in order to motivate, to encourage athletes to show more dedication? So I believe that this is a sport that has to do with the judo, to incentivize to have more judokas. How can we use the digital tool? We had the dissemination of the specialty, the dissemination of the new techniques and the new competitions. But whenever you talk about performance, obviously we are talking about the athlete, the human being that needs to be imparted by this technology. And sometimes we have technologies that if we are not prepared for this technology will not give us the results we want. But I believe that as for the fight sports or modalities, we should have more dissemination. Because I'm part of the football. Football is something natural. Perhaps we don't even need these technologies. But this question is pertinent. I believe that the communication, dissemination is crucial. Through TikTok and many other platforms, you can actually disseminate information. We see coaches, both community coaches, disseminating the profile of their players so that the community can visualize that performance. If there is no current for that elevation, then we should go for that analogical, rudimentary technologies. Because there are fights in judo where the decision is taken by points. I believe that if you are to resort to the video referee, that will be crucial so as to see how many points one competitor has scored. I believe that nothing is easy. We need to innovate, we need to adapt ourselves, and we need to create situations. And to talk about judo, I believe that possibly the very low performance or evolution has to do with the lack of opportunities and where it has been practiced. Judo is just a modality that is only competed at a federation level. But all this goes through what Professor Miller just said, the promotion of the modality and probably a better preparation of the athletes. Because if we are to have a African judo champion, what can the technology actually provide with? I mean, these are basic things. Why should I keep track of my athletes? They can use a GPS device that detects its trainings, his or her movements during the training sessions. How is the physical condition? So all these can be actually obtained through technology, and this will help athletes to get into a better sports performance, and that will encourage other young people and youth to practice or to use this sport. A second female voice. Good morning, I'm Deborah Kayongo, I'm a journalist, and I'd like to ask, why isn't technology being a development factor in the sports, and actually it's actually not being used in favor of sports? Could you please, would you mind repeating your question? I'd like to ask, why is technology being, I would say, a contradictory factor? Instead of focusing on sports, just like it's down in communication, it has been hampering the development of people in sports. Do you believe that technology is hampering sports? Not necessarily hampering, but we can see that in stadiums, people are more concerned in filming or recording or sharing other things than paying attention to the sports in itself. Please observe that during our presentation, there was an image, there was a photo of a stadium where there's a number of reflectors or videos, cameras, but sometimes we think that a person is there with a cell phone or is filming the Facebook. No. Many people working on stadiums, we don't even have an idea. They're working with startups. They're working with software companies. They're working with companies that are actually producing other types of information, other type of contents that do not only cover the game. There's also the virtual game. Nowadays, with the introduction of new technologies, is open the digital world, is open the world of connections. And sometimes we may assume that the person filming or recording a gentleman that is drinking a soft drinks, and I was talking about the business opportunities. There are a lot of people working in stadiums with the smartphones, with small cameras, but they're not just there working minimum work. They are actually representing huge enterprises, and they're doing work that will probably impact other areas of the sports. Just to reinforce, colleague, sometimes the radio, in our radio broadcasting, we provide an information via internet in the text, and they're professional in the stadium that is writing. Sidonia Malamba crosses than 20 minutes. And I provide this information to the listeners. And in responding, the team for Samba, so all this information is updated. So a question, what does this technology bring to the stadium? I believe that today, being in a soccer pitch or in a stadium, this allows athletes to, the audience or spectators to use technology. It's not a distraction. I can use my smartphone to have a better image quality from watching from far. I believe that in basketball, for instance, a new technology is being created that allows that those who are at home let's say I'm in Angola, and I may have, I'm watching the game as if I was in front seat. So that's one of the advantages that technology is actually brings about, and that has a favorable growth in terms of finance, because we have some data from 2022 to 2030. The revenues generated in sports and the implementation of technologies will allow them to generate from $23 billion to more than $55 billion, meaning that sports and technologies will go hand in hand. And all this will depend on human context. But we should look at what the technology can bring about as a gain in terms of protecting the athletes, interaction with spectators, and also in terms of athletics, breaking the records, world records. And before the activity, I was talking to one of my colleagues, and yesterday, Tony Cruz only had one failed pass out of the 70 passes in the game. So I speak about football, but the metrics in technology allows to measure how many kilometers the footballer actually ran the pitch, how accurate he was in his passes. So technology is it's actually a great win. Imagine with artificial intelligence to use artificial intelligence to be used in one of the footballers. Imagine if we had to use it for Carlos Almeida, perhaps Angola would have been qualified for the Olympic Games. And allow me to talk about this system. I believe that this system will start being implemented on NBA. So the AI is being used in basketball. So thank you. We still have time. I didn't know there was no sign from the organ. I think we can continue. People are a little bit shy, but feel free. This is an annual activity. We are in the 4th edition. Since the participants are shy, let me just thank ANGOTIC, because for the first time they placed Angola in a final. Because we are in a final, 3 Angolans are disputing, competing, and there's no winners. And thank ANGOTIC for these opportunities. More questions? Let's see what are the. So there's a hand at the back. Where's the microphone? Who has the microphone? I believe that there's a young man at the back. I'm Isaac Lorenzo. I'm a journalist. Let me first of all, commend the organizing committee for providing us this moment. Sports technology, it's innovating, and also the dialogue. I'd like to commend to the participants. My question goes to Professor Milagom, because you're working for the Angolan Federation. What is lacking is information. We're talking about technology and its impact on sports, but we should be able to quantify it. We should be able to define a timing. What does Angola need? How much time does it need? And how much it costs to implement technologies in our sports? If we are to have these details, then we will have parameters in order to discuss these topics. Before Miller responds to this question, let us give the floor to another. I believe that is a young man. Your microphone, please. You have the microphone. Your question, please. Good morning. I'm Jeremias Cabral. My question has to do with the technology. When technology is applied into sports, and you're talking about virtual reality, wouldn't that prevent the interaction between the spectators? And let's say I have virtual reality in my house, and but I have families. This will also prevent the interaction between. Wouldn't this also impact the environment? Thank you. If you allow me, I would start. So, to what extent technology separates the interactions of family members and the social life? So, let us start with Jefferson. Jefferson will answer Isaac's question. What is the timeline? 100,000 euros just to have goal line technology. I understand the question raised or placed. A few years ago, a decision was taken from the technological perspective, but it was a very technical decision. The need for the competition to be played at the natural pitch, and we had 16 clubs. Obviously, there was a moratorium, and then those provinces, they are unable to have these pitches, and the clubs were forced to play in other pitches. So we could understand that cannot be unilateral in investment. It cannot be the federation. Even in other parts of the world, it's not up to the federation to do this kind of investments for these technologies, so as to enables football to have these promotion or to grow. There should be a number of synergies in order to allow for these issues to be sustainable and balanced. The federation is not exempted from the socio-economic context of the country. But more than that, there are situations that all over the world, these issues are policies, are politically oriented, so as to make sure that there is an impact on the economy, on the GDP. And in order to have this impact and this return in the economy, there should be an integration of the various elements that make up this national sports space. I understand your question, but we should think of a forum first to discuss. What is the timeline? These technologies are not to be implemented at once. So the FIFA has given the moratorium until 2023 or 23-24. All clubs that are not registered into the system, there is the technology. The FIFA Connect system, those clubs that are not registered, they were given a moratorium. Otherwise, if they're not registered by 2024, they will not be able to participate. If you had to look at countries such as Tunisia, Morocco, in the Maghreb region, that somehow are pretty much advanced compared to the rest of Africa. But even so, they in their competitions they don't have all these technologies working or functioning. But in my modest opinion, that 5 years would be the moratorium in order to implement this technologies. And I usually raise this issue. The issue of implementation of these technologies brings about a fundamental aspect, which is training. And the training process takes time. Acquiring this information and then familiarizing with this information and executing it. Jefferson, how much time? We have the communication system for referee communication system is already. We have the beep system that allows to communicate between the referees and the assistant referees. We have the digital board. So these are systems that are being implemented in our sports, more specifically in football. Now, as for the other technologies, this allows us to have we have day 3, day 4. I was in Abidjan. Benin couldn't play at home. They had to play at Cote d'Ivoire because their pitch was not ready. Because of Namibia. So they don't have the it seems to be so let us answer Jeremiah's question. This issue of technology, 3D, video reality, can it separate, can it create, can it break the interaction between families? I mean, effectiveness, can it separate from friends? I don't believe. We need to define targets because without technology, we are not going to go any further. For instance, yesterday I was watching a plenary on education, the impact of technologies in training. And one of the topics was this, whereby children start having a contact with technology as early as 2 and 3 years of age. At home, we are working with the digital. We should limit moments. We should use moments whereby you can use these technologies and these types of systems. And if we have to give more space, we shouldn't allow technology to take over in our houses, but we should rather use technology help in the day-to-day affairs in our households. Looks like we have plenty of time, more than we expected. And it looks like we have a 12 additional minutes. More contributions? I think it's Geronimo who wants to take the floor. Jeremias, my question is, he answered my question. He said that there should be moments of limitation, but technology should be implemented because there's no way you can move without technology. But wouldn't it be better in these of limiting a lot of technology in sports? Because if all areas are to have an in-depth technological integration, then we lose the roots. There's the development, we cannot lose sight of the development, but shouldn't we limit at some point technology in sports? Because this will make people more interactive and less capable of wanting to be in a stadium. So if I can watch a game at my house, what is the point of going to a stadium? That's more or less my concern. Jeremias, allow me to say this. On this issue, I still say that the best for the sports is the implementation of technology, because this will facilitate the sports reality. It will facilitate the decision making. It will facilitate a better preparation of the athlete. That's our reality. Before joining here, I went to the Coqueiros only with a watch, and I did a physical testing. And then I didn't need. Whenever we talk about sports, we know that football stadiums have limited spaces, and sometimes the cost to access these stadiums, not everyone actually can afford it. And in the World Football Championships, we have fan zones. CAF is also implementing, so we can get spectators who do not have condition to pay a ticket to go to a stadium. So whenever we talk about this facility whereby technology can be used in sports, that is to give an opportunity for all of us to have access. For those who doesn't want to watch a soccer match where Messi is 5 meters away from you, even if I'm to buy the cheapest ticket, I will be the cheapest. It will be very expensive. So that's the key objective of the usage of technology, and it ends up helping, and it won't remove any interaction, because there are people who like watching in real time, and there are people who like watching a soccer match at home, and the others on the stadium, and the others on the cell phone. It depends on the availability of time and also the financial availability. Miller has a different version. This is just to reinforce, and this goes in line with this last part from Gerson. Because there's this perspective of a sitting comfortably in my sofa, because technologies allow me to watch a soccer match in 3G or 4G, but there's no emotion. I mean, the emotion of being in a stadium, to be able to share those emotions and watching our idols, those people who really like watching, and in the game, in soccer match against Cameroon, we thought that there wouldn't be any spectators, and suddenly there was a full house, and there were even people who were watching the game, the match from their sofa, because technology will sort of have a replay. There are two segments. There will always be people who want to watch on the stadium. some are watching ANGOTICs at home, and we are here. And we use technologies in order to make sure that these marvelous things can be accessed through your screen. But it's way different from watching this seminar or this talk from home than from someone who's here in this room. We are very much attached to emotions. Yes, on one hand, we are at this risk, and one of the examples is when we had COVID. COVID actually removed people from the stadium, but what did the technology do? And the soccer match were in an environment that didn't exist in order to make sure that those people like watching games on the TV could actually enjoy for that moment. But I can say to you, everyone wanted to watch that game. There are people who would rather go to the stadium. Some even took the risk, try to watch the game. There will always be these two segments while sports become an emotion. These are options. Geronimo, these are basically options. But it's true that technologies will empower sports at all levels. We continue with this interaction with the participants. I don't know whether there's still more questions to be asked. I see a hand at the back. I believe that is Madam Vivian who wants to ask a question. In order to have advancements, in technological advancements, there should be an investment, financial investment. So my question is, with respect to the financial investment in technology and in sports, there's less engagement, and isn't sports a priority in the technological implementation? Isn't sports a priority in the technological implementation here in Angola? Because if there is lack of funding, maybe perhaps or maybe sports is not a priority. What does Vivian do? I'm an engineering student. Two questions: investment versus priorities.
Well, one thing is engraved to the other, but the assistant professional referee to have technology in sport, we need investment. And why is there no investment if sport is a priority? Vivian, I believe, and I agree with you, that for us to have technology, we need investment, and we are not exempted to this reality. And for sport, I really tell you that there is less investment relating to technology. But this is because of some more robust issues. But we can start from what Vivian is asking now, because if Vivian, with the knowledge that you have in your professional career, let's imagine that you develop a program, a new way or a new model to utilize the goal line technology, a more economic goal line technology system. Truly that in terms of governance, there will be more investment for the betterment of sport, because sport is part of a government plan for the development in the next 4 years. So I believe that we need more investment, and that the priorities should be much more broadened and much more open to technology, so that we can create favorable methods with the favorable technology to use in nationally. Well, I can reinforce or enlighten more on what Jason said. Probably launch here some challenges. Today, I'm going to prioritize the young man. So I'm going to prioritize a new intervention. Please, your name, what you do, and your question. I'm Camilo. I'm I'm an entrepreneur. And I'm also a fan of sport, and I'm also a fan of the two gents that are here. My question is more on for the international referee and also the professor who I respect a lot. The issue of VAR. We know that this is a technology that is for sport. In Angola, is it really needed for the entity, or is there a closed circuit that render service to sport, or is it opened that shows that we can replicate, that allows to replicate the technology of VR? Is there some restricted entity number of entities that render service, or is it open for every company who can develop this technology and render this service nationally, considering the rules of the guidelines of FIFA? Thank you so much, Camilo. We know that today VAR is one of the greatest applications in sport, in football, in soccer, and it came to help the referees to take the most adequate decisions. But for me, I think that VAR came to save life of so many referees, because there were some decisions that are just one wrong decision, then it ended up the career of the referee. But with VAR, now we can decide in a very favorable way, and we need to remember that we have 4 categories with the board, the international board, which is assessing the FIFA, which is the penalty shooting, goals, and red card and the yellow cards. But all this has got a deliberation of FIFA. As Professor Lemos already said, everyone that is that intervenes in the application of VR has to go through a training and need to be licensed so that he can work in this area. And with the entities, the system can be created in a different way. And FIFA is already working in this issue, that they are permitting a study of a new economic system that is going to allow all other nationalities to use, other nations to use the VR, because the use of VR, it's not just because of 10 to 12 cameras in the stadium, because we have the room where the assistant will be, and they need 3 cameras that have a real zoom in that allows to do a zoom in 3 seconds of what is happening in the soccer field. So it means that in 3 seconds the communication should flow between the main referee and the assistant. So we can create other mechanisms. You present it to FIFA, and FIFA is going to assess it, and then they are going to decide if it's favorable or not. These happen, and as an example, we have in Southern Africa, we have the COSAFA. COSAFA used in the last edition the VR in the female competition, and now in a senior way in the main teams. Now we are going to use the VR, and from next week they will go through a training. Now, if there's some interested entities want to facilitate the use of VR nationally, then it's possible. Just get into partnership or in contact with the Federation of Football of Angola, and they will get in contact with FIFA, and this will permit for the new system to be assessed and approved by FIFA. So I was reinforcing what Gerson said when Vivian asked, and I say that probably we have here an opportunity for, this is the challenge that we will leave, so that the engineering students and the young people in the universities, you don't really need to love sport. You just need to make sure that you're an expert in your area, in your field of study. I used to say that as in sports we have the lack of taking people from other areas so that they can apply their knowledge in the sport. We take from electronics, engineering, and we apply it in the sport. But on the other hand, these are the experts, they get some experience from sport, so that, for instance, so they can in a certain way assess some tools. So then there is this conjunction. So this question is really important, because for those ones who want to create some program or come up with some softwares to give a response to this dilemma of soccer, probably it's not just linked to the VR, but we're here talking about specifically about the VR, but the sports is really open. So the challenge is left here, so that other areas of or other knowledgeable areas can intervene in favor of sport. Let me also take the opportunity here and say that the sport is really open for many opportunities. As a proof of that, in daily or monthly, we have lots of money, and if it was not true, we could not have the implementation of VR in Russia. In Russia, and the image and the interpretation of the room of the VR takes about after 10 seconds, and 10 seconds for the referee team is really a lot. So this is where two students of from one university in USA, they found a way to reduce the flow of image from 10 to 30 seconds. So to 3 seconds, they showed the proposal, it was assessed, and it was approved. Now we can have here someone in the room. If you can develop a system which is more economic and more practical, it's an opportunity. I see that Camilo is linked to the trade or commercial area. Probably wants to create a partnership with whoever has the deciding hand. I wanted to say that the development of sport, and particularly we are talking here about in a general way, so it is not just for the federations. We need also the intervention of other areas. I used to say that we need to have a guideline from the state if we want to, in a certain way, reach levels of performance, of high-level performance, and this goes through investment. Sport is investment, and when we talk about this diversification of economy, we are more focused on agriculture, but we can also include here soccer and also basketball, and let's make it an area to leverage or to make better the development of sport in our country. We are almost at the end of our presentation, but we are going to give more opportunity before Jeremiah speaks. Let's see if there's someone who also wants to ask a question. If not, let's hear the last intervention of Jeremiah. Let's go to the last question. In terms of technology, I would like to know if there are no more important priority. For instance, the condition of the soccer fields. As you said before, the marquee that did not have, and you had to go to the other country because you did not have the marquee. Should we not focus in this type of parameters in terms of organization, and then from there we look into technology so that we don't jump steps? Well, this is the last question. In terms of priorities, well, probably you went to Qatar or South Africa, I don't know, but it probably came late. But when we spoke about the implementation of technology, one of the areas that we spoke in sport has to do with the management and organization. So the impact that the technology will have in the management and organizing sector, and we say that what the institutions put on the table for the federation so that they can do, if we don't go through some guidelines, and that technology is the one that will help us to give these responses, especially when we're talking about the screen and the stadium. For instance, the stadium, Tundavala soccer field. So if we don't look into those soccer field, it has to do with management, and if we don't make sure that we take care of that, then technology will not have any space. Thank you, Jeremiah. Technology is really helping a lot sport in different areas. And normally when you talk about technology in the sport, one of the main factors is the protection, safety of the athletes, because the cost of recovery of athlete after an injury, it will be sometimes it can be too high for a team. So in the levels of federations or institutions nationally, we can discuss about this and then work with holding hands. Well, I would like to ask to thank everyone for your presence. We are part of sport. We are talking about the impact of technology in sport. We have the director of the CAF, and also Gerson Miliano, who is the assistant referee, international assistant referee, working for CAF and FIFA, and also the referee for Girabola. Thank you so much for the invitation, and see you on the other opportunities. Thank you.
Não tens fotógrafos aqui para já. Não vejo nenhum fotógrafo aqui para já, no lugar. Não tem. Devem estar lá fora a acompanhar a visita do Ministro de Estado. Yeah? Mas tranquilo. Senhoras e senhores, ficamos.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our parallel session. I'm going to ask you to just wait in the room. The entities are making a field visit, and then after that we are going to do the final ceremony of ANGOTIC 2024. Sorry.